Winning souls for God's kingdom is very difficult because what I noticed, what I came about to learn was that people already know who God is. They know about heaven and earth, and majority of people, especially in Africa, I don't think there is any part of Africa where you would go and then there's someone who does not know about God. I know that in other continents there are people still don't know about God, who don't know about the gospel. But in Africa, I'm sure in every corner that you go to, people already know about God. They know about the gospel. But then now, what I've noticed is that people are not really bothered or concerned or care about what happens in the afterlife. People focused on material things and they focused on short-term goals and short-term things like what's happening now. That's why if you look at it in people's New Year resolutions, in their goals or in their game plan, they don't have most of them, they don't even have anything that is gospel related, or they don't focus on spiritual growth. Instead, they're focusing on material things. In their goals, they're aiming for financial freedom, they're aiming for property like assets, vehicles, or things which are materialistic, but then they're not really they don't really care about their spiritual growth. Very few people care about their spiritual growth and their relationship with God. But then little do they know that in this world, in this life, this is more like a test for the next life to see which destination you're gonna go to, whether you're gonna go to heaven or to hell. That's why it is very important for you in this time, in this life, to focus on God, to seek God's kingdom first, and to have a good relationship with God, because all of these worldly things don't matter in the next life. If you die today, if you die whenever you die, whatever it is that you would have accumulated on earth, you're not going with it to the graveyard. You're leaving everything behind. The same way you came into this world is the same way that you're gonna go out. You came here empty-handed, you're going out empty-handed. You're not taking nothing with you. The house, if you bought a house, the house that you bought is something that is a place for you to stay in this world. But then when you die, when you pass on, you're going leaving it behind. The children that you brought to this world, they are yours, but then if you look at it, really, they're really not yours, because in this world you own nothing. You just came here empty-handed. You're going to leave this place empty-handed. So that's why if you understand such, and if you look at the time frame that you're going to spend in this world, a lot of people don't understand that the time that you're going to spend in this world is very short compared to afterlife. If you look at where you are today and look at how many generations they've came before you, that's where you see that now the time that you're going to spend in the afterlife is way more longer than the time here on earth, because here on earth you're looking at the most maximum. um, I don't even think that there's people who are living up to 150 years in this day and age. So mostly the most that I've heard of is 110, 109, and those are very few people. Most people are ending there on 80, 90, 100. Well, then if you're blessed, yeah. But now if you look at it now, if you to do the maths, if you are to look at how old you are right now, and then you minus that from, let's give you a max of 120, you'll see how much time you've got here in this world, and the decisions and the choices that you make now determine where you go to in the next life. Because there are people who are busy focusing on enjoyment, focusing on the material things, but then they're not focusing on the duties, the purpose that God put them in this world for, because everyone here has got a duty and a purpose to fulfill and do. So you need to go through the Word of God. I've heard people whereby they go to some churches and then they are advised to start reading from John. I really don't recommend that, because at school, who starts at in what you call it in high school? No one starts school in high school. Instead, you start in preschool. So if you want to know more about God, you need to go and get the Bible. Start from Genesis, read chapter after chapter, page after page, up until you get to Revelations. That way, you'd have a clear understanding of what are the commandments of God, what are the laws, and why did God create you, and you learn how to live and how to be in unity with God. And that is the way that will lead you into the path of the righteousness, the word of God. That's why if you look at it, when Jesus was being tempted by the devil, he said that men should not live on bread alone. What does that mean? But on every word of God. So that being said, you shouldn't be skipping like the way that some people are doing, whereby they want to start on John and learn about the love of God. What about the Old Testament? Because now you need to learn everything. That's why now I advise people to start off with Genesis all the way to Revelation, so that now you have a better understanding and you'll be enlightened and know all the laws and the commandments and everything that God needs you to know. So that now, even when you're making your decisions and when you're making your choices in life, now you are based and relying on the word of God. And don't forget that even when you're facing things in the spiritual realm, when you're facing spiritual challenges, you overcome whatever challenges with the word of God. So you need to seek God's kingdom first. You need to grow more spiritual, and in whatever you do, know that there is judgment day. So that's why now you need to know that whatever you do in life, rely on the word of God and have a good relationship with God. And even if we are at your workplace or whether you're running your business, also apply the laws and the commandments of God, so that now you will stand right with God in whatever you do, even in your family or organization or wherever you go to. But whatever you do, make sure that you're relying and you're standing with God in whatever you do. And sometimes if you're stuck or confused and then you don't know what you do, sometimes you need to seek God's presence. Always you need to seek God's presence and try to reach out. If you can't hear what God is saying to you, there are men of God who are spiritually gifted, who can advise you spiritually on what to do, so that you can overcome your challenges in a godly manner, not in a worldly manner, because there are sometimes people who end up going to other sources, and then before you know it, they end up getting lost in the kingdom of darkness.